Hi. Oh, loud. I'm Aaron Kheifets. I am a very moderately successful filmmaker. And as mentioned earlier, I'm a PhD in cognitive psychology from here at Rutgers. And I'm going to talk to you guys today arguing that when it comes to storytelling, we need to be breaking more rules. So, I got my PhD here at Rutgers, as I said, in cognitive science. And I love cognitive science. It is very math intensive, but I adored it. And now you may be thinking, it's a bit odd, right? Obviously, I care a lot about entertainment and the arts, and I also love math. Well, I'm a bit of a contrarian. I love rules, and I'm a contrarian. Now you're thinking to yourselves, he's both a contrarian and he loves rules? That doesn't make any sense. And the contrarian in me tells you, exactly. Yeah, you weren't expecting that from a contrarian. So, being a contrarian is very good for a scientist. Science essentially runs on skepticism, and I have skepticism in spades. I'm very good at doubting things. I mean, name it, and I can doubt it. I doubt my own emotions often. I feel happy, and then I'm like, well, do I really feel happy? All I know is that I'm having the thought that I feel happy. I can commit to that. Anyway, it's a real fun time up in here. I have a good time. So being such a skeptic, how do I go from the world of science to becoming a screenwriter? Well, naturally, you get textbooks on the art that you're trying to learn. You read those textbooks cover to cover, and then you know how to do art, right? Then you do the art. Then you are an arter, right? Which is what I did. When I decided I wanted to become a screenwriter, I read every book on story structure I could get my hands on. And they all have a lot of similar points to them. A lot of them have a template for where all of your story beats should go, what order they should go in around where they should come in your story, be it whether you're writing an action movie, or you're writing a rom-com, or a kids movie, or those are the three movies that we make now. So that's it. But in principle, it could work for any genre of movie if we decide to make them again. So I read every single one of those, and that I could find. And I'd like to see if I can remember very accurately, it's been a little bit for me, exactly how those go. So to test me, can somebody just name a profession that anyone would have? Any profession? Teacher. Great. Love it. Tina's a teacher, and she loves being a teacher, but, here's her problem. Everybody is like so down on her all the time. You know, the parents, she teaches at a private school, and the parents are like always, looking down on her. They're all fancy business people and socialites, and she's just some teacher raising their kids for them. And so, her life's not so great when an alien ambassador comes and is like, Tina, you didn't know it. You are alien royalty. We're going to whisk you away to an alien planet, and we need you to become queen by Tuesday, because otherwise, they have the same days of the week in the alien planet. We need you to become a queen by Tuesday, because otherwise the High Chancellor will take over the government, and that's going to be bad for everybody. High Chancellor, very evil. So Tina's like, oh, it's very important. Tina has to be like, no, but I can't, my family. And then the visitor goes like, come on. And Tina's like, all right. So then Tina goes, and what a wacky situation it is, because Tina is a teacher, and she's used to dealing with little kids, and she is still in teacher mode when she's supposed to be alien royalty. And so she gets into all kinds of situations where she like wipes snot off an alien, and everyone's like, no, that's forbidden in our world. Boy, does she get into some hot water. It's a real fish out of water situation. But then she gradually learns her lessons. She gets the lay of the land. She adjusts to this new world. And finally, she is good enough at alien business to become queen of the alien world. And we do the coronation ceremony. She grabs the scepter, and it looks suspiciously like a piece of chalk. And she's like, I'm now queen. Great. High Chancellor does not become powerful. But then we learn, oh no, Tina becoming queen was actually an evil plot on the part of the visitor who brought her here in the first place. We've been betrayed by this visitor who brought us here in the first place, a move that's never happened in any movie before, and you will never see again. Nobody saw it coming. And so, and actually, wanted to keep democracy out of this alien world. And so Tina's like, oh no, I'm going to team up with the High Chancellor, who I always thought was my enemy, and the two of us have to band together and use all of our alien world knowledge together to fight this evil visitor guy who brought us here in the first place. And so they almost do it, but their plan doesn't work. They're about to lose everything, every single thing. Tina's going to be wiped off the map. The alien world is in a real bad spot. And then that's when Tina marries her knowledge of the alien world with something from who she was at the very beginning in teacher world. She takes that scepter that looked like chalk earlier, and she like draws a diagram with it from the very beginning of the movie, and then that opens a secret trapdoor that the Chancellor falls through, and like she's saved the day. Because she put together who she used to be with who she is now. And now Tina's queen of the alien world and also is the best teacher. End of movie. Cool. Okay. I'm pretty sure that I hit all of the basic beats that are supposed to be in there from these kinds of templates. And we all really want to see that movie, right? Tina and this movie, you'd think that if I could rattle that off the top of my head and just invent that based on a profession, it would be easy for me to then sit down and write the actual screenplay, right? That's kind of the implicit promise in all of these templates, right? You get all your beats in order. We're going to show you how to put all the story beats in order, and then you're just fleshing out the details. How hard could that be? I could not make myself do that for the life of me. I just couldn't stop getting in my own way. I would invent problems that did not need to be solved. I once spent a month and a half torturing myself over how my main character got from the airport to her hotel. A month and a half of my life was spent deciding if this woman could afford an Uber. Why? Why did I do this to myself? And I went away from it, and then that gave me the perspective to realize that I was trying to write the perfect screenplay. And I was trying to do that by not making any mistakes, by not violating any of the rules that had been laid out for me. And it was only by thinking back to my cognitive psych background that I realized why that's impossible. Okay, let me say once again that I'm a PhD. I don't get to say that very often, and it's just like the only joy that I get out of it at this point. So I'm going to mention that again. You have to believe me what I say about psychology. There is a general trend in modern psychology that we've been finding out that forgive me for using technical jargon here, but it's a subtle point. The point is thinking brain dumb, guts smart. Sorry if that was over some of your heads. What we're finding out is that a lot of the time your instincts, your gut reactions to things are not just some sort of random or noisy list of rules. They're a very complex and sophisticated computation that's going on in your brain as the result of lots of evolution and your experience and lots of different things. It's a rich tapestry under there. People have made the analogy to a glacier, that your conscious mind is like the ice on the top of the glacier, and your non-conscious, non-verbal mind is all of the ice below. And if you know anything about glaciers, 90% of it is this huge mass below the water's surface. I want to give you a different metaphor. The one that I like is your mind is like Sherlock Holmes riding a velociraptor. You are Sherlock Holmes, okay? All of your verbal abilities and your lists that you're thinking of, oh, I have to pick this up later, your relationships to other people, everything that you think about consciously, Sherlock Holmes. And don't get me wrong, Sherlock Holmes is great. He's very smart, very clever, very logical, great at making music. If he's the new Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes, he knows Kung Fu. So that's awesome. But we've got a Raptor also, right? We want to play with the Raptor. I was trying to write only with Sherlock Holmes. And I wanted to write with the Raptor. So I started a regimen for myself where I started taking improv classes. I started doing writing exercises, and almost all writing exercises are about exactly this, getting kind of out of your head, out of your judgment template zone, and more into following your feet, or following your gut, following your Raptor. And the most important thing that I started doing, I didn't read in any book or any blog or anything like that, probably because I'm the only person on earth who needed to hear this advice. Because I am so critical of my own emotions and feelings. But it was just to start paying special attention to what I liked and what I did not like. I really had to force myself to do this. I was so myopic about making sure everything fit this perfect structure and perfect form that I had lost touch with what I thought was good and bad in my Raptor brain here. So I would literally sit down in front of anything, right? A piece of furniture, a piece of art, a building, and would ask myself, do I like this or do I not like this? And it's absurd. I'm an absurd person. But I had to do this, and with some training, I feel like I got much more in touch with my Raptor. And now when I'm writing, I actually do this from time to time. It has worked somewhat, right? Not all the time. I would love to write with my Raptor 100% of the time, and I would probably go to jail because it would be insane. But a lot of the time, I can surprise myself. And those moments when you surprise yourself, when you put something down, when you have an idea that you didn't know was in you, that you were capable of, that is magic. And 9 times out of 10, those are the very best ideas. An example from a popular movie that I really like is from American Hustle, a movie that came out a couple of years ago. And there's this scene in it where Jennifer Lawrence is cleaning her house and singing Live and Let Die. That's it. That's all that's happening in the scene. It's kind of unrelated to anything else in the movie. And she just cleans like a maniac, and she sings Live and Let Die like directly into camera. And it's so intense and so crazy. I saw David O. Russell, the director and one of the writers of it, talk about this. And he said that this scene sort of just appeared to him fully formed out of nowhere. And I don't want to say that it has nothing to do with the rest of the story, because it's a movie and everything connects like on some abstract level. But notice we don't have any scenes like that in our story about Tina the teacher that we just made up, right? You're not, by starting with the template, you're just not making room to find that crazy, weird Raptor idea that's like, this is fun. And if you had taken this to a screenwriting guru, he would be like, what is this doing in your screenplay? But it's one of the most memorable moments for me about the whole thing, and very unique and distinctive. David O. Russell is in touch with his Raptor, and I think he's a much better filmmaker for it. Rules are good sometimes, right? When you give a TED Extreme talk, you set yourself up as a contrarian filmmaker at the beginning, you make some points, you go to a thesis, and then the rule is people give you applause. That's great. I love that. I'm going to enjoy that very much. But when we're telling stories, we also need the freedom to follow our Raptor, no matter how many books are telling you that the particular thing you want to do is not a good idea. Do it. It's so much more valuable that you find it exciting. And if you're a contrarian, then you might find it exciting to sum up a piece by referring way back to the beginning, which signals to everybody that your ending is going to match that. And you're going to sum everything up with this perfect little bow. And right before you do that, you just, thank you very much.